Hey guys, this is Ray for PhoneArena and you're watching a video comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. It's understandable that these two handsets might seem very similar to one another, even more so when they're both made by Samsung. So let's take a bit more of an in-depth look and see the differences between the Galaxy S3 and Galaxy Nexus. First of all, we're going to take a look at their designs. What we have here, the Galaxy S3, it's built entirely of plastic, and it has this physical key here along with these capacitive keys. On the other hand, with Galaxy Nexus, we have a cleaner front side with absolutely no buttons, no capacitive keys whatsoever. With this device, everything is here, part of the screen. To tell the truth, this design actually reduces the amount of those accidental presses a bit, because the keys are a bit higher and a bit more inwards here to the center of the screen. Whereas with Galaxy S3, all of these buttons, the capacitive buttons here, fall really closely to the edge, so it's very easy to accidentally press them. Apart from that, the Galaxy S3 relies on glossy plastic for its backside, while the Galaxy Nexus has this matte finish here, which is also pretty good to the touch. Actually, both devices feel very well in the hand. We can't actually tell which one is better, even more so when you have in mind that they practically have the same dimensions, although the Galaxy S3 is a bit wider, but it also has the slightly bigger screen, while the Galaxy Nexus here has a 4.65-inch display. The Samsung Galaxy S3 has a 4.8-inch panel. While we're on the subject of their displays, we should mention that they both use the HD Super AMOLED technology, which means that they both have the same HD resolution, and considering that the Galaxy Nexus has a slightly smaller screen actually, this means that it has the slightly better pixel density. In reality though, the difference is really negligible and very hard to see with the naked eye. Now for the Super AMOLED part, of course, both of these guys have incredibly saturated and popping out colors and great contrast levels. On one hand, the Galaxy S3 appears to be slightly brighter compared to the Galaxy Nexus, but on the other hand, the Galaxy Nexus has slightly warmer colors, which is something that we want to see in a Super AMOLED display, because these kind of displays, the AMOLED based screens, typically have very cold colors. So the colors on the Galaxy Nexus are a bit closer to reality, as we said, but the Galaxy S3 is a bit brighter, so you just have to choose which feature is more important to you. The important thing to note here with regards to the software found on the Galaxy S3 and Galaxy Nexus is that while the Galaxy Nexus runs a stock version of Android Ice Cream Sandwich, the Galaxy S3 has the TouchWiz Nature UX interface added on top of this. Now, of course, Samsung has added this in order to differentiate its product and in order to add a bunch of new features to kind of enhance the user experience. Now, overall, we do like the look of the stock ice cream sandwich version a bit more compared to the TouchWiz Nature UX, but at this point it does have to do with personal preference here, because Samsung has really done a very good job with the TouchWiz Nature UX here on the Galaxy S3, and it now does look pretty cool compared to the previous iterations of the software. In addition, it actually runs smoother compared to what we have here on the Galaxy Nexus, and this is we're willing to attribute this to the superior hardware found inside the Galaxy S2. As you know, it has the quad-core Exynos processor, whereas the Galaxy Nexus is running with a dual-core silicon inside. We do like the fact that Samsung has added a number of pretty cool features with the Galaxy S3 and the TouchWiz user interface, including the S-Voice natural recognition software or the Smart Stay functionality, which uses the front-facing camera to tell if you're looking at the display or not, in order to know whether it should keep the display on or turn it off. And these things practically aren't available with the Galaxy Nexus, so this is one area where the Galaxy S3 does have the upper hand. There really isn't too much of a difference between the typing experience on the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Nexus. We prefer the portrait keyboard of the Galaxy S3 because of its more contrasting colors here, better design of the keys, but when we turn them to landscape mode, quickly becomes evident that the design of the landscape keyboard on the Galaxy Nexus is a bit better because the keys here are a bit higher compared to those of the Galaxy S3, but one can never have it all in a single phone. The web browsers are very similar, but we do prefer the browser of the Galaxy S3 a bit more. That's because using the faster processor here, the quad-core Exynos processor, the device is able to introduce us to some more fluid and smoother animations, zooming and such kind of stuff. On the other hand, the Galaxy Nexus is not too far behind, but Samsung has actually tweaked the user interface here a little. As you can see on the Galaxy Nexus with stock ice cream sandwich, whenever you scroll upwards, the address bar here appears and then quickly disappears, which is kind of annoying if it constantly shows up like that. Samsung has thankfully got rid of that with the TouchWiz user interface, so your experience can now be undisturbed by such kind of stuff. Both handsets have great flash performance, and of course the Galaxy S3 again has a slight edge due to the faster hardware. We do think that the TouchWiz camera interface found here on the Galaxy S3 is a bit more intuitive because all of the options are available right from here, from the starting screen. Everything is very easily accessible, and on the other hand, with the Galaxy Nexus you have to tap this key here, and then you have some options here, but not as much, and the photos here won't be as customizable as what you can get with the Galaxy S3 and a wide range of settings that Samsung has placed here with its TouchWiz user interface. Now, when it comes to the quality of the photographs that you can take with each device, we think that the Galaxy S3 is a bit better because it manages to capture a higher amount of details with its 8 megapixel camera versus the 5 megapixel one on the Galaxy Nexus. At the same time, the level of noise is lower in the photos of the Galaxy S3. Overall, the color representation is about the same with both devices, but the S3 manages to expose the scenes a bit more accurately. When it comes to the 1080p video that both devices record, the Galaxy S3 is again much better because its video is more fluid thanks to the 29 frames per second. We actually prefer the music player of the Galaxy Nexus a bit more because it's a bit easier to use. On the Galaxy S3 everything is just not as clear as here. Let's play a song here real quickly. This one. Okay, and here is how the equalizers work with the Galaxy S3. You just tap this key here and there are your profiles. If you select custom, you go to the screen where you can customize your equalizer. With the Galaxy Nexus you tap this button, then sound effects, and here are the options for the equalizer. Here are the presets, which are not as many as on the Galaxy S3. S3 though, but you can still customize your own sound profile, so there isn't really too much of a difference. A bit more options with the one here on the Galaxy S3 and a bit more, slightly more intuitive experience with the Galaxy Nexus. The Galaxy S3 has this very cool video player where it gives you an animated preview of your video files, whereas with the Galaxy Nexus you simply have to rely on the built-in gallery here, which is not as spectacular as the video player here on the Galaxy Nexus, but apart from this, both handsets function in pretty much the same way. Now, when it comes to their screens, the Galaxy S3 is a bit better because its screen is slightly bigger and a bit brighter also. Although we do like that the Galaxy Nexus has a bit more natural looking colors. When it comes to phone quality, we prefer the experience on the Galaxy S3 a bit more because its earpiece is somewhat louder and it manages to emit a bit more natural sounding tones. The same thing goes for the experience on the other side of the line. The Galaxy S3 manages to send some much better sounding voices, especially if you happen to be in a noisier situation where you're going to need the noise cancellation of the two handsets. And in this case, the noise cancellation microphone of the Galaxy S3 seems to do a much better job compared to what you hear from the Galaxy Nexus. All in all, we think that the Galaxy S3 is the better phone because it's a bit more refined compared to the Galaxy Nexus. Although the differences aren't really big or that significant, the Galaxy S3 does feel like the more polished product. It's a bit more smoother when it comes to the user interface. It has some added features like burst shot in the camera, like S-Voice and such kind of stuff. The camera is also a bit better, the call quality is better. So overall, if you're not really into the buttonless design of the Galaxy Nexus and or the stock version of Android here, we do think that the Galaxy S3 would be the better option for you. This was Ray with our comparison between the Galaxy S3 and Galaxy Nexus. But if you'd like to learn even more about these two phones, just feel free to visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.